Okay, looks like we've got everyone who's joining. Anyone who joins late can sort of catch up as we go. I believe this meeting is also going to be recorded so that you guys will be able to see it at a later date as well, or share it with colleagues. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us on this afternoon. My name is James Henderson. I am the CEO of Mindsy. And as mentioned a few minutes ago, the focus of today's session is really going to be about streamlining your manufacturing and supply chain, specifically in your JD Edwards solutions. So a little bit of background on myself. Prior to Mindsy, I was actually president and COO of a public company called Avigilon that was sold back in 2018 to Motorola Solutions for approximately $1 billion. We actually had two manufacturing facilities, one in Canada as well as one in the United States, just outside of Dallas, where I am today. So very familiar with the challenges that manufacturing organizations face. And of course, in today's environment, I think that has been exacerbated quite significantly with the supply chain issues that seem to be impacting every facet of operations today. So for today's session, and due to time, we're going to focus on a couple of key areas within each specific topic. So for manufacturing, I'm going to talk a little bit about rework, opportunities to unlock capacity, how to improve throughput times, basic analysis. And on the supply chain side, opportunities to improve delivery, streamline internal workflows, remove bottlenecks, but really how to understand what is happening within your operation, what processes are taking place, and how do we make them happen more efficiently? How do we make things happen faster, which is really the big question, I think, everywhere in today's environment. And the way that we're going to talk about this is I'm going to be introducing you guys to a concept known as process mining. And process mining is actually one of the fastest growing and fastest adopted technologies today. Businesses of all shapes and sizes are using process mining to basically unlock the capacity that they have within their organization today. And to do those things that I talked about, removing bottlenecks, increasing efficiency. Process mining falls into a category that is known as hyper-automation. Really fancy term. And effectively what hyper-automation means is, how do we leverage technology to make our businesses run more efficiently? The interesting part about hyperautomation is getting a tremendous amount of attention, as I mentioned. It is really probably the #1 growing technology space that's being applied by businesses to improve operations. And as you can see up on your screen, it's estimated that organizations will reduce operating costs by up to 30% by combining hyperautomation with redesigned operational processes. 30%, a staggering number in today's environment. And that is the opportunity that we'll sort of talk through today. So when I talk to our customers, businesses, or give speeches like this, the first and most important thing is really to understand, what is process optimization, right? What is process improvement? Because it is a relatively new concept. Those in the manufacturing world like yourselves, you're very familiar with Lean Six Sigma and these other types of continuous improvement things that you've likely applied in your manufacturing operations. Think of process optimization and process mining as the next evolution of that. And really what it is focused on is it's leveraging a technique called process mining. And that's how we apply the process optimization. And what process mining does is it connects into your system of record. So think of your system of record as basically the system that you're using to run your organization. So it could be a Microsoft Dynamics, an SAP, an Oracle, a NetSuite, your MES system, anything that I refer to as a structured data system. And what process mining is able to do is connect into that system and really allow you to truly understand what is happening. What are the workflows? Where are the bottlenecks? Where are things getting stuck? Where are things happening that shouldn't be happening? And really help you understand where those opportunities are to reduce waste, increase efficiency, and effectively save time and money. And you can see by the image on the left-hand side, one of the ways it does that is by automatically mapping out your business workflows. So you can truly see what is happening. And the really fascinating part about this type of technology is that these business workflows, they're not manually created. This isn't something that a consultant comes in and does for you, or that you draw up on a chart or in Visio or one of these other programs that you use. They're automatically created by these process mining tools in order to uncover the opportunities within your business. So the other interesting part as we start to talk about process mining and process optimization is that it really is a new way to look at your business. Up until now, really, companies have been using what I refer to as sort of traditional BI tools. So these are tools that were readily available within the market that did a great job in order to provide us statistics and metrics and other interesting things that allowed us to look at our business in a certain way. Process mining has kind of turned that completely on its head, because it's a new way to look at your business. You're no longer looking at your business as a specific metric or a specific piece of information in time. You're looking at your business as an operational workflow. And in doing that, you really get the complete picture of what's happening as you apply this to a department. So when you look at your manufacturing, you're looking at it as, what are all of the things that are happening within my manufacturing environment or my supply chain environment? And how do I go ahead and make those more efficient? Where are the opportunities? And it really allows you to make a more informed decision as to, what am I going to do to make my business better? The other interesting thing that we'll talk about a little bit later is the proactive monitoring approach that process mining brings into organizations in order to really understand and monitor these operational workflows and be informed when things happen that maybe are less than desirable. So we're going to start off by looking at manufacturing operations. And when we look at manufacturing operations, you know, having worked in that environment before, it's extremely complex. Timing, when you do things, how you do things, where the bottlenecks are. And one of the biggest pain points that most operations face is something that you guys are probably really, really familiar with, the concept of rework, right? How many times do I have to fix something, change something before it is just done correctly? Process mining and process optimization have become fundamental to understanding these challenges, because it really helps you understand, one, how much time and effort are you actually spending on rework? How many person hours are being wasted, and what is the cost to your business? And once you understand the cost to your business, then you can make a decision as to how many resources or how much time and effort do I want to put into trying to improve rework. And when I look at it, I want to understand a couple of things, which process mining and process optimization is really good at. One is, are we getting better or worse? And that, even in traditional BI tools, is something that you can get a general sense of, but you don't necessarily get the complete picture on. Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? And more importantly, one of the very fascinating features of process mining is the ability for it to get to a root cause. And a root cause really is everything when you're looking at your business, because what you want to really understand is, if you're going to try and improve something like rework, and you really want to reduce the amount that you have, you need to understand what is driving that thing to occur, right? And get to the bottom of, is it a person? Is it a department? Is it a specific activity or action that you're taking that's driving the majority of your rework? And then you can leverage that information to actually make an informed decision. Do we need to train someone? Do we need to look at a specific station or line that's driving a lot of our rework? The other thing that you can now do is start to unlock capacity, right? If you want to unlock capacity within your manufacturing operation, you really need to understand the true picture of what is happening. And that's where process mining and process optimization really shine. You are no longer dealing with subjective approaches or personal opinion. What you're dealing with is data of what is actually happening. And in process mining, because it understands the workflow that is happening and captured within your system, it can help you understand where are things getting stuck? Where is the long pole? So when I'm looking at my manufacturing operation, I'm no longer looking at it as, hey, it took me 27 days to build a laptop. I'm looking at it as, show me every single step involved in building that laptop and how long did each particular one take? And it will flag for you if there is a particular step in that operation or in that flow that seems to be causing you a bottleneck. And now you can make an informed decision to dial right into a specific area. So you're no longer saying, hey, it takes us 27 days to build a laptop and I want to do it in 20. You're saying, hey, this particular step going from A to B is really where it's taking us 12 out of those 27 days. That's where we need to focus our time and effort. That's where we need to look at it and say, can we reduce that specific step and do a more fulsome investigation into that specific action that's being taken? And again, leveraging the data that is already collected in your system, but transforming it in a way that allows you to understand exactly what is happening. This same concept can be used to improve your throughput. How do we make things happen faster, right? And now that we understand and are leveraging this type of software platform to unlock what's actually happening within my manufacturing operations, now I can see what station is causing it. Is there a particular step in my production that's causing issues? And I can drill all the way down into the minute details to get the information I need to make the decisions as to where I can increase my throughput. Where can I tweak my operation? Where can I look at my manufacturing and say, hey, there's an opportunity here to save a day, an hour, a week, whatever that might be. The other aspect is the dreaded supply chain. Supply chain in today's particular environment, frankly, is tremendously challenging. And I don't have to explain this to everyone. I think every organization is feeling the effects of the challenges with supply chain. And the more supply chain issues that we face, obviously, the more it impacts our ability to operate. In the manufacturing world, I think it's even more difficult than most environments because you're in a situation where your supply chain dictates how much you can sell, right? Your ability to bring in what you need to build the products that you sell is essential to the lifeblood of your organization. This is an area where process optimization is being leveraged tremendously. To look at what is actually happening within my supply chain from the time that I issue a purchase order to the time I pay for things. You know, when you look back before the supply chain challenges that we had today, a lot of organizations would look at things like paying their vendors, and they'd actually make sure that they were paying a lot of bills late, specifically to improve working capital. What we see with the customers that we deal with, and frankly, even ones that we're talking to, is that that role is actually being reversed. They are looking at on-time payment now as a critical piece of their supply chain because they want to make sure that they have the best possible relationship with their vendors to be able to negotiate terms or frankly negotiate priorities to ensure that they are getting what they need on time because it is so essential to their business. And looking at every step of that process and how to create and improve it, create efficiencies and improve that process really has tremendous benefits. So delivery times being a key analysis, right? In today's environment, understanding when you are getting what you need is extremely important, right? Are your vendors holding to their expected lead times? Can you rely on what they are actually telling you is a lead time? Because you are doing all of your capacity planning, all your production planning around it. Understanding that to be accurate is essential. And if it's not, you need to know, because in knowing, then you can make informed decisions. So if you look at it and say there's a specific vendor that we expected that was going to deliver things on 7-day, 14-day, 30-day lead times, and now those lead times are 60 days, that information allows you to understand how you need to approach your business. Do you need to look at an alternative vendor? Do you need to update the lead times in your system? Can you have a discussion with that vendor and see if you can improve those lead times? And if ultimately you can't improve the lead time, at least now you can make an informed decision around your production planning. And what is causing those lead times? Like we've talked about, the fundamental most important thing that I talk to all businesses about is that information is extremely powerful if you can make informed decisions from it. So understanding when you look at a problem, what is driving that problem is fundamental to how you make an informed decision in order to be able to have the best impact. And as a sidebar, I see there's a couple of questions that are coming through here. I'll try and answer them along the way as best I can. If I can't, I'll try and get to it at the end of the meeting. One question just came in, which was asked around how is the data getting from JD Edwards into the Mindsy tool? The Mindsy tool is a software as a service application, and it's kind of been the reference point for talking about some of this process improvement. It's a software service application for JD Edwards customers. There's a direct connection and data gateway that is set up that allows the two systems to speak for this analysis to be used. If you have fundamental questions around my company and Mindsy, we're happy to answer those at a later time as well. But to continue on through this presentation and discussion, the interesting part when you start to consider how do I affect my supply chain, or for that matter, fundamentally, how do I affect my procurement process, which is a key portion of your supply chain, there really comes down to two key things that actually happen, right? Or components to it. There is the internal supply chain and procurement process, and there's also the external portion of the process. And it's really interesting when you start to understand how your organization is actually working through process mining to see that there is usually a tremendous opportunity to improve the internal part of your procurement process. It is amazing every time we work with businesses to see how many days, weeks are wasted on internal changes, corrections, approvals taking too long. All of these internal steps that most organizations didn't realize was having a significant negative impact on their purchasing ability, right? When you look at a procurement life cycle and you say, okay, it takes me on average, let's say 27 days or 30 days from the time I issue a purchase or request a purchase order to the time we receive goods. If 5 of those days are tied up with your internal workflows and approvals and changes and corrections, think of the impact that you could have, right? That is a significant percentage of your purchase order life cycle that is being tied up or wasted on internal portion of the process. And that is really easy for you to optimize and fix once you understand that there is that opportunity there and what's driving it. So improving purchase order cycle times and getting to the root cause. And I can't talk about this enough, right? When we look to improve anything within our business, understanding what is driving that metric is the most important thing that I preach to people. Now, when we look at process mining and process optimization software packages, they have a tremendous amount of benefits, not only to uncover what is exactly happening within my organization, but also to provide what's driving the root cause and make recommendations as well. So some of these packages will actually make a recommendation as to what action you should take in order to take advantage of the opportunities within your business. And what we see fundamentally across the globe is that this is an extremely valuable asset to businesses. because most of the organizations that are trying to leverage technology to improve their operations are not necessarily building out an entire team to do it. So you're trying to leverage the resources you have to take on this new technology project to help make your business better. And well, fundamentally, that technology project will make your business better. The more that the technology you choose can present what action you need to take, the more valuable it's going to be to your organization, because you're going to spend less time digging through data and trying to understand it. And you're going to spend more time actually working on solutions and improvements to your business. And that's ultimately what you want to do. The third dimension when we start to talk about process mining and optimization, specifically for manufacturing and supply chain, is compliance. Compliance and compliance in your operations is really a very interesting thing, because there are certain things you want to have happen and you want to try and avoid. Great example of that is in your supply chain and procurement process, things like maverick buying, right? If you have set within your organization that you want to have a purchase order issued for every major purchase, you want to ensure that that process and mandate is being followed. Process mining tools, because they have this inherent domain knowledge of the business process and workflow, they understand not only the start and end, but they understand all of the actions and activities that are happening in between. And it gives them a unique ability to help you monitor and track compliance. So not only do they understand those activities, but they also understand that those activities have an order of operations, meaning there is a certain order that those activities are supposed to face or supposed to occur. And when I talk to a lot of businesses, it's really interesting to see, because they will tell me that they have put the controls in place within their system to stop things like maverick buying, right? You cannot receive goods without first having a purchase order to track it through. And it is a constant education process for me with those organizations to help them re-understand that just because the controls are within the software application, it doesn't stop those things from occurring outside in the real world. Goods can still show up on your dock without a purchase order being created. What ends up happening within most organizations is the users do a workaround. When those goods show up, the guy in the receiving dock will call your purchasing manager and say, hey, we need a purchase order for this because we just got it, and then it will be entered into the system. But because process mining tools understand that the order in which those things and events actually occurred happened out of place, it's very, very good at being able to track those compliance issues. And they can alert, alarm, depending on the system, and proactively help you ensure or be informed when these things occur. So when we wrap all this up, as I talked about in the beginning, the one question that I get probably more than any other else is, what is the difference between process optimization tools and business intelligence? And they are fundamentally two different things. There is a shift going on of businesses in all shapes and sizes, more and more towards process optimization over business intelligence. Their business intelligence tools are still extremely valuable for your organization. They provide you a lot of statistics, a lot of metrics, a lot of things that help ensure that you are moving in the right direction. But fundamentally, it is a completely different thing than process optimization. Process optimization is really about, how do I achieve maximum operational efficiency? And in order to achieve maximum operational efficiency, I need to understand my business more than just some macro figure or macro KPI. I need to understand it at a micro level. What are the steps happening? What of those steps are happening that are taking too long? And fundamentally, exactly what I need to do to make a business better. So although each have their place, they are really two completely different things. So in conclusion, as I said, I think personally, and obviously I've drank the Kool-Aid, every business should be looking at process optimization and leveraging process mining tools. It is fundamentally essential, and I think it is going to be the difference between the businesses that are more profitable, grow faster, are able to integrate businesses and acquire companies faster, and able to streamline their operations, are going to be the ones that leverage this hyper-automation technology like process mining to improve their operation. It is going to allow them to scale more efficiently, as well as make sure that when they are efficient, they will now have the opportunity to invest that same capital within their business, but deploy it into things in areas that are going to help continue to drive growth, because they are now far more efficient on the back end. The last thing that I will add to that, though, is that the idea of operational efficiency and process optimization is not a one-time project. The companies that are maximizing the benefits and the values of these types of tools are getting a significant amount of benefit from the initial project, but they are applying these types of systems across all areas of their business. It's not just manufacturing and supply chain, it's accounts payable, it's my support tickets. It's every area of the business that I can make as efficient as possible in order to make and maximize the success of my company. So with that, I'd like to thank the Quest community for putting on this another great Infocus event and for inviting me to come and speak. Again, my name is James Henderson. If there are any follow-up questions in terms of process mining, business process optimization, manufacturing optimization, supply chain, or frankly, if you're just curious about the space and my particular background in it, or just want to have a chat, my contact information is up on the screen. You can reach me at james.henderson@mindzy.com, MINDZIE.com, or my mobile 469-919-7133. I am always happy to have a conversation. Obviously, process mining and process improvement is an area that I am extremely passionate in and love to talk with like-minded individuals. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time. That is our presentation for this afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your event.